की मस्ती के हम पे ये किसने हरा रंग डाला, प्यार किया तो डरना क्या.
Much of what we know about the Tawayevs comes from their depiction in popular culture. Be it Devdas's Chandramukhi or Rekha's Umrao Jan, we have come to think of Tawayevs simply as sensual seductresses, their existence in these popular narratives limited to only rousing either desire or pity in the audience's heart. But the story of Tawayevs is undeniably richer than that. Today in the Feminist Archive, we take a look. The word Tawayef is the Avdi term for a highly skilled courtesan, and while their origins can be traced to Mughal court culture in the 16th century, it is believed that Tawayefs rose to prominence between the 18th and 19th centuries in the royal courts across North India. Perhaps some of the greatest performing artists of the time, the Tawayefs were professionally trained singers and dancers. Such was their influence on the arts and culture that they were considered to be an authority on tehzeeb or etiquette. It is said that young Nawabs were sent to the Tawayefs to learn etiquette and appreciate the arts. We've also inherited Kathak and Mujras from the Tawayefs. At the height of their prominence, Tawayefs were considered to be a symbol of wealth, culture, and sophistication. To be associated with a Tawayef was to be associated with all of the three. So how did we come to know the Tawayef as we do today? It was with the arrival of the Britishers that the downfall of the Tawayefs began. Many notable Tawayefs had enough wealth and influence, so much so that the records show that they were perhaps one of the highest taxpayers. While their courthouse or bordello would earlier house their performances and act as a finishing school of sorts for the Tawayefs, with the resistance against the British strengthening, the courthouses were often used as secret hideouts where Indian rebels held meetings. It is possible that wealthy Tawayefs might have also aided the rebellion against the British financially. The British colonial government tried to weaken this powerful influence of the Tawayefs by introducing laws that reduced their work essentially to sex work. Sex may or may not have been part of the relationship between Tawayefs and their patrons and suitors, but colonial ideas of morality and virtue wanted little to do with this nuance. Many Indian reformists at that time too opposed Tawayefs. Consequently, Tawayefs slowly started to lose their prestige. Some relied on sex work, some migrated to work in the film industry, and some chose to work in the gramophone industry. From Gauhar Jan, who created the very first Indian song recording in 1902, to Jaddan Bai, an Indian singer, actress, and music composer, the Indian film and music industry, in fact, owes quite a lot to the Tawayefs, who were trailblazers in their own right and played a huge role in shaping the industry. Over the years, Tawayefs on the big screen have not lost their appeal. With films such as Pakiza, Devdas, Mangal Pandey, Umrao Jan, and most recently Kalank, immortalizing the figure of the Tawayef, but they have been reduced to either an object of desire or one that invites immense pity. Such a representation ignores the complex and perhaps fulfilling lives the Tawayefs may have led. With such a rich cultural and social history and influence, what becomes of the legacy of the Tawayefs?